We're diving deep into the shadowy world of government cover-ups and unexplained anomalies with the 24th anniversary of 9/11 just days away. Our guest, Chris Emery, investigative journalist, film producer for Free Mind Films, and key figure behind the documentary A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City 1995, is here to break down the bizarre inconsistencies in the official OKC bombing story and draw eerie connections to September 11th, which is now just days away. You are not going to want to miss this eye-opening conversation. The news you need to know, but with solutions and hope. This is Get Free with KRISTI LEIGH. Good evening. We have got a lot to cover, so we're going to dive right in today. Joining us now is Chris Emery, investigative journalist, as I said, film producer for Free Mind Films, and he's behind that documentary, A Noble Lie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City, 1995. And he's here to break down these strange anomalies in the official narrative, as usually what we see with official narratives, right, Chris?
That's right. Do you got my audio?
Yep, sure do. You look great, sound great. And so let's start. We want to kind of make some connections, if you will, with 9/11 coming up. I was surprised to hear from you, as the first person I heard it from, that there are some interesting connections between the Oklahoma City bombing and the 9/11. And for most people watching, the official narrative, we don't buy either of those official narratives, but there's actually some connections between the two. But did you want to start with what you uncovered about the Oklahoma City bombing over the years? Just it's been a couple decades now, and there's still interesting, relevant information coming out.
Yes. Well, the Oklahoma City bombing, of course, the official narrative didn't make any sense. It took us 8.5 years to put the film out. By the way, thank you for having me back, KRISTI. I know it's been a few years since we talked. But the our film actually is it's a, how do we say this? A primer. It's not the end all be all, but it gives you a pretty good overlay of what the official narrative was all about. And then what we discovered as a film crew, we had to clear the table and start all over again because the official narrative didn't make any sense at all. So we basically started from scratch. We went with 326 eyewitness interviews with victims, family members, survivors, several eyewitnesses. And then the story that we were able to put together completely took a different path than the official narrative. And as filmmakers, we had to go where the facts lead us. That's just the bottom line. This is not a fictional story. It's not attributed by and based upon or inspired by, like a lot of Hollywood movies. It's based on fact. There's not probably every 2 weeks that I don't get an email or a phone call or a text from someone that was intimately involved with the film or had seen our film online and had some further information to add. So it's just it's an ongoing organic project. We're very proud to have it on our website through Tubi TV and 67 countries, just translated in 5 languages, in addition to English subtitles for the hearing impaired market. So we're reaching about 40 to 50% of the audience out there in the world. We do ask your viewers if they want to watch it. It is for free on our website at freemindfilms.com. And you don't have to pay a dime, but we do make money on the ad revenue. Big favor we do ask, please do not watch it on YouTube or Rumble, since they don't monetize the film. And 98% of what's on there is pirated copies. So thank you for your support in advance. And if you could watch it on our website, that'd be great. My email address, if you do want to contact me, and I'll be more than happy, I'm very good about responding within 24 to 48 hours, is ccEMERY. That's CCEM as in Michael, ERY at protonmail.com. You're welcome to drop me a line if you have any ideas about the film, or if you have any further information about the case. I would be more than happy to hear from you. So what direction you want to go?
Chris. Well, I mean, let's first talk about this. This is obviously something that interests people. We have more and more people that are not buying the 9/11 official narrative. There's an event in DC, actually starting tomorrow, where some people that seem to be on board with the official narrative have actually turned against it. Pointedly, Tucker Carlson is somebody that plans on joining that event, and he was actually in extreme defense at one point of the official 9/11 story, but now turned around. And a lot of people attribute to people's willingness to want to look at these official narratives again because of what we went through with the pandemic. We saw straight in our face the government lying to us, the gaslighting, and so now people are more inclined to believe that okay, yeah, cover-ups do happen. Okay, yeah, the government does lie to us and is sometimes more involved than it lets on. I did notice American Thinker just had an article posing the question, was the FBI behind the Oklahoma bombing? And it goes on to talk about a second individual beyond Timothy McVeigh that was spotted, as well as ATF agents that were told not to show up to work, and a number of other things, saying was the FBI behind the Oklahoma bombing. Is that what you're thinking as far as like who is behind it, and what motivations have you come up with as far as what has been hidden from the public eye?
Let me go continue with that thought. Give me 1 second. I've got to adjust the phone here. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay, pause the recording. Let's cut this part out.
No, I know it's the filmmaker in me. Okay, got to get a little better lighting on this. Okay, so to answer your questions, yes, in fact, I was working for a production studio in Fort Worth when I started researching the Oklahoma City bombing back in early 2000. And my boss at that studio, I told him, I says, I'm really looking forward to moving to Oklahoma City to work on this case. He says, whatever you do, just make sure that you find a lot of information that either supports a narrative or it doesn't. You have to go whatever direction that information leads you. We could not find one shred of evidence that supported the official narrative, other than the fact that 168 people were brutally murdered, including 3 unborn children. That's it. I know that sounds simplistic, Kristi. So once we got to that point, after about 6 months, myself and a few of my friends at Fort Worth, I decided to move, and then we compiled a group of 15 core people on the crew, 75 researchers, and again, like I said, we, over the next 4 years, did 326 interviews. What we found out, to answer your question, is that there were 12 to 18 people involved, that the FBI, yes, did have an active part in this, in as much as that McVeigh's handler was Larry Potts. And a lot of folks, please remember this name. This is very important. Larry Potts was McVeigh's handler for at least 2.5 months before the bombing. And how do we know? Well, they came from Terry Nichols, the co-conspirator, who was actually framed and set up by the FBI and the Justice Department. He should have been out of prison within about 8 years. He's moldering in the Supermax lockup in Florence, Colorado right now for the rest of his life without a chance of parole. That's another storyline we can go on if you want. But getting back to Larry Potts, Terry Nichols said that McVeigh told him while they were actually in the Supermax together, McVeigh was waiting until the death row facility in Terre Haute, Indiana was being finished by the Bureau of Prisons. He point blank told Terry Nichols that Larry Potts was his handler, and that the bombing was supposed to happen on April 18th at 9 p.m., 12 hours before it actually happened on April 19th at 9 a.m., 9:02 a.m. But Larry Potts, quote unquote, wanted a body count. And so that's shocking. And we were able to corroborate that through other sources with Terry Nichols, including David Paul Hammer, who actually was on death row in Terre Haute with Tim McVeigh. And so, yes, Louis Freeh, Larry Potts, Eric Holder, Bob Ricks, who was the FBI special agent in charge of the Oklahoma City field office, who at the time was having substance abuse problems and going through alcohol rehab, was derelict in his duties and making sure that this event was stopped before it did. And he was summarily fired and he took the rest of his vacation, which was about 82 days he accrued, and then the state of Oklahoma promptly hired him to head the DPS, Department of Public Safety for 2 years under the tutelage of Frank Keating, the governor. So, to answer your question, yes, the FBI was intimately involved not only in the commission, but in the cover-up of the Oklahoma City bombing. I have no problem saying that in a court of law in front of a grand jury. And I'm going to tell you right now, Kristi, that's why our film crew and all of us on the crew, including myself and my principal business partners, have never been sued. We have never been served with papers or subpoenaed by the FBI or the Justice Department for libel or slander or anything, because 95% of our movie is based on the Justice Department's own documents. We'd literally do a U-turn on them and find the complicit in court and have to reveal it in front of a jury. They do not, under any circumstance, want that to happen. So here we are, December of 2025. It'll be 14 years after we released the film. It was released the first week of December of 2011, and it's still airtight. And we have a storyline that is unimpeachable. And I'm not bragging, but this is the result of a lot of hard work and continuing work on this case. So the FBI needs to be held accountable. And one last thing on this to finish my answer to your question. Merrick Garland, our former U.S. Attorney General, was actually the special prosecutor appointed to prosecute the Oklahoma City bombing. He was also complicit in the cover-up. And he pleaded with the trial judge that presided over both the Nichols and the Tim McVeigh and Terry Nichols trial. Both were held in 1997 in the Denver federal courthouse. And Garland pleaded up and down with Judge Richard P. Maish for 3.5 months to quash the discovery documents, to make sure that they were not presented to either federal trial jury, because that would have shown a broader conspiracy. And there's a good chance that Terry Nichols would have been exonerated of all charges and gone free. He did not want that to happen under any circumstance. So if anybody watching this, including anybody from the Justice Department that was involved with that cover-up, if you have an issue with my statements, I'll be happy to meet you in a court of law, and we'll see who wins on that one. I suggest they hire competent legal counsel to get their personal affairs in order, because this is brought before the correct federal grand jury. They're going to go to prison for a very long time.
After untangling the web of how all this came together, have you ever figured out what you believe the motive was for allowing or inspiring this to happen? Hey, I know you want to hear the answer to that question, but before you do, we do need to hear from our sponsors. Thank you for watching this special episode of Get Free. To learn more about the 9/11 and Oklahoma City bombing connections, we're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Let's face it, you can't trust Big Pharma. They've already tried to block ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and raise prices on everything from antibiotics to your daily meds. Well, there's good news. All Family Pharmacy is standing up for medical freedom and helping people get the treatments they actually want. My family and I use them all the time. They made it easy and affordable without the runaround. While other pharmacies are jacking up prices, they've actually dropped theirs. Ivermectin now starts at just $2 a capsule. Use my promo code Lindell10, you get an extra 10% off of that. You need ivermectin, antibiotics, or methylene blue, you name it, they've got it. They make it simple. You fill out a short online form, a licensed doctor reviews it, your meds ship fast right to your front door. If you want to be prepared and have your medications on hand, this is your new pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10 saves you even more. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10.
Well, that's a good question. Let me be as concise as I can. The FBI, we found out through sources at the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office and the police department. By the way, the Oklahoma City Police Department did a stellar job of investigating this case. They put together a white paper that completely flew in the face of the official narrative. Not a lot of people know about that. And through the benevolence and the support of a lot of their active and retired officers, we were able to get this film out. But the motive was that the FBI and the ATF wanted to remunerate themselves for the complete fiasco and utter disaster of the Waco incident. The ATF was defunded at the end of the fiscal year in 1995. So if I'm not mistaken, that would have been, June 30 of 1995? The bombing happens in April. And the ATF was literally going to cease to exist. Congress was not going to fund them anymore. So they did not want that to happen. And some of their colleagues and allies at the FBI said, hey, let's just, we'll do this false flag. We're going to blow out a few windows and maybe damage a statue in front of the building. There was no statue in front of the Murrah building. Their intel was all screwed up. And for some reason, Larry Potts and the dark side of the FBI got involved, and you saw what played out. It was horrific.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely horrific. And what's interesting is now we're learning there are some weird connections between the Oklahoma City bombing and 9/11. And one name seems to stick out in both, but correct me if I'm wrong. And that is Mohammed Atta. There's a connection there, is there not?
There is. Atta, of course, was the alleged ringleader of the 19 hijackers. What we found out, I sent you this document last night, I think, if you had a chance to read it. They were, oddly enough, and for your viewers, as filmmakers, we got to rewind the clock here on the calendar. So 9/11 was on a Tuesday. So you go back to the previous Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Atta was spotted in Oklahoma City by at least 4 credible witnesses in Oklahoma City. And on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and late in the wee hours of the Sunday morning, both at the Oklahoma City National Memorial. We had a volunteer there. I had to actually kick them out, ask them to leave because they were being boisterous and very loud. And this is the museum that is literally 300 feet to the north of where the ground zero for the bombing was. It's in the old Journal Record building, press building. And so the docent kicked them out. And she was hysterical the following Tuesday afternoon when she saw Atta's face all over the mainstream media and the TV, went back into work and told her boss, the head of the memorial, to this day, that she saw Mohammed Atta and 4 other hijackers there, and she was summarily let go. Well, as a volunteer, how do you fire a volunteer? They did not want that storyline to come out at all. So they just said, that's it, you're done. Thank you for volunteering with us for 2.5 years. Go home, and you're not going to be working there anymore as a volunteer. So That's the first witness. Then we had three others at a local bar, which is no longer in Oklahoma City. It was Graham's Country Western Bar. Come to find out, that was a front for drug smuggling and or drug money laundering operation through a drug conduit through Texas and Oklahoma from Laredo all the way up to Canada. Anyway, Graham's was they kept losing money all these years. I found out from the bartender. He saw Muhammad Atta the Friday and Saturday nights and had to basically Atta pulled a knife on some of the patrons at the bar, and four of his accomplices were there. And then he has a bar receipt where he ordered 5 shots of whiskey and stiffed the bartender. Well, bartenders remember when you stiff them. That's like indelible memory. Yeah, you do not forget people that either get in bar fights or stiff you. And he said that there were a lot of weird. In fact, I'm going to show you this. This is the dossier that I have of all of the information from that investigation. A couple things that happened. Atta used a credit card that had expired in March of 2001. It was an American Express account. We found that out through somebody that was employed, a former employee of the Secret Service out of Fort Worth, Texas. And she ran the numbers for us. But yes, there were 5 drinks at $3 a piece, $15 tab. He stiffed the bartender. And in fact, I just talked to this bartender a couple of weeks ago. We still keep in touch. He still lives in Oklahoma City. We've remained good friends over the years. And he said, Chris, that he's never ran, in the 18 years he'd been bartending there, he never ran a credit card that was expired that ran through, even for a small amount of $15. Credit card companies will put a brick wall on it and say, hey, this is a fraud, or they're using an expired card. So the connection, and I'm going to just give you another tidbit of information here. We found out that that card was actually with American Express, but it was with an account out of a bank in Malta, which is off the coast of Sicily in the Mediterranean Sea. And there were only 3 account holders in the bank: the CIA, MI6, and the IDF, basically Israeli Defense Intelligence. Wow. So how does Atta have an expired credit card at the end of March of 2001 from an account in a bank that only has 3 cardholders? And by the way, our contact at the Secret Service basically said, please don't call me again after she ran the numbers. She got a lot of hot water, even though she was retired. And her superior, who was still working at the Secret Service, basically threatened her with her pension. He says, don't you ever open these doors again. So there you go. I know that's a lot to unpack for your viewers, but we've been doing this for a long time, folks. If you have any questions, like I said, just email me and I'll be happy to give you more information on that.
So again, Mata was involved with, or allegedly involved with 9/11 as, one of the main folks. But before 9/11, he was in Oklahoma City with this strange government credit card.
Correct. About a year and a half before he actually showed up at the memorial, and then that 4 days before 9/11. By the way, that whole deal of him being with his 4 accomplices completely throws the timeline, the official timeline, of 9/11 right out the window. So whoever's given us this song and dance about the timeline is completely full of crap, and they think we're stupid. They're treating us like infants, and they're insulting our intelligence. So thanks to Dick Cheney and George Bush and their ilk for doing that. But to answer your question, yes, they were in and out of actually 2 airports, not the Will Rogers International Airport, but there was a Wiley Post Airport, and then there was a airman flight school, not airman flight school. It was a flight school out of just north of the University of Oklahoma, Norman, which is about 27 miles south of Oklahoma City. They were flying in and out of those 2 airports long before the Venice Airport and the Florida training was even brought into the light. So they were getting themselves warmed up and trained, at least a year and a half before 9/11, with regular visits to Oklahoma City.
And they were getting trained by whom? I know that there's also reporting that's been done that he was learning multiple languages.
Oh, yes. In fact, I sent you that article yesterday where the Monterey Linguistics School in Monterey, California, it's an Army base, a specialized training facility. he was training there for at least about a year and a half, almost 2 years before 9/11. And he learned 5 different languages fluently, of course, including English. So, by the way, the bartender said that he looked really disheveled and looked like he'd been sleeping in the back of his car for 3 days. Walked in with just like he was strung out on something. And he looked exactly like the headshot that they showed on the TV the afternoon of 9/11. Jeff thought he was probably strung out on either Quaaludes or cocaine because he'd seen a lot of questionable patrons come into the bar, and we got to understand what people may have been under the influence on. Not that he ever experienced that, but he had a pretty good eye as a bartender. And he said Otto was really strung out on something. Here's another twist to the 9/11 connection. So Tuesday was 9/11, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the following Saturday, so we're talking 4 days after 9/11, a 6th hijacker and Jeff landed, I gave him the lineup with the headshots of all 19, and the witness at the Oklahoma City Museum, as well as him, another bartender, and a barback that saw Otto and the crew. So there's 4 witnesses. All of them came within. They identified all but one. They were vacillating on, there was a kind of a disagreement on the 6th one, but Jeff knew that the 6th one, who was allegedly killed, came into the bar that Saturday and picked a fight with him. He literally grabbed Jeff, my friend, by the scruff of his neck, and he was within about a foot of this guy's face for almost 20 seconds. Jeff pushed him aside, had him kicked out, and then he realized, wow, this is the 6th hijacker. What in the hell is this guy doing here in Oklahoma City 4 days after 9/11? So all the discrepancies and, some of those guys were alive. Their passports were stolen in Denver International, Abu Dhabi, and Berlin Airport. I mean, it's just a convoluted pile of crap, that whole narrative. So it would explain why these guys were in and out of Oklahoma City before and after 9/11.
What would explain that they were there before and after?
All of the discrepancies of being ID'd with their passports. Yeah, I mean, even one of the pilots said it. No, it didn't add up on the official narrative at all. Absolutely. So
if it wasn't them that were on the planes, was there planes? Like, how do you resolve how the 9/11 happened?
My best guess, and I talked to a British Airways pilot that had retired in Dallas, and he eventually relocated to Oklahoma City, and we had regular meetings, and he said that, the remote control technology had been in place for years, at least 15 years before 9/11. We also had, of all things, Sabre reservations. They ran the reservation software for American Airlines. We had 2 individuals that moved from Saudi Arabia to their big Tulsa tech center in Oklahoma City. They said, especially on the flight that was over Shanksville, PA, they found out that those people weren't even on the plane, that the flight manifests were all false, and 2 of the 3 planes in 9/11 were actually on remote control. It was unbelievable. So we don't even know if these victims, some of them were even real, and the flight manifest, just like the technology that messes up, with the voting. I mean, you could just go in and change the names and who's on board. And they thought at least one of those planes took off completely empty. So there you go. And then, of course, the whole Pentagon story. That doesn't make any sense with the way the plane.
I'm going to ask you about that next. Do you believe that was a plane? Many believe it was some kind of missile because there was never any plane fragments it was on the ground.
What I found out from the same British Airways pilot was that whatever hit the Pentagon was not a 767, because you have what is called ground effect, and especially pilots when they're coming in on aircraft carriers, you have to have a certain amount of speed. You have to slow down, or else basically the velocity of the push from the air and what the wings generate will keep it off. If you're going so fast, you're not going to be able to land. You're going to be coming with the terminology of military is you're coming in off deck. How far are you off the ground? How far are you off the deck from the aircraft carrier? Same principle with the Pentagon. That plane was so large, and the wingspan was so large on the 767, and he said he's logged quite a few hours when he had left the British Airways and worked for a domestic air cargo that he said that plane would have had to come in at basically zero ground speed between 0 and 60, and there's no way it would have crashed long beforehand. He said that the rate it was coming in, the velocity that the official story said, it would have been at least 40 feet off the ground. Well, there was no damage of any windows above 18 feet. So you can't have it both ways. There was damage below 18 feet, which the missile could have done easily, but a 767 wouldn't have touched anything under 40 feet. So it's either you or you don't. I mean, physics doesn't contradict itself. I mean, these guys fly professionally. They learn how avionics. They learn how to fly the plane on physics. You don't do it on hearsay or conjecture or complete garbage. You'd be having plane wrecks all the time. So
it's my understanding that you do believe that some of the same shadowy figures that were behind the Oklahoma City bombing were also involved in the 9/11 operation, we'll say. And so do you think that these folks were just, after they pulled off the Oklahoma City bombing, they were emboldened to do something like this? Just 6 years later it was?
I do. In fact, also, here's another name to remember. And I'm not sure if he's still even alive. David Boren was on a Senate Intelligence Committee. He was a U.S. Senator out of Oklahoma, later served as the president of the University of Oklahoma. His son was elected, I believe, to take his seat in the Senate. And then his son now has left, and we have another gentleman in there, red-haired senator, I forget his name. But yes, David Boren was part of that whole cabal. He, on the morning of 9/11, he had a meeting with the head of the CIA and said, hey, we think that this was some guys that trained out of Oklahoma. Well, why would Boren blurt that out at a restaurant the morning of 9/11 in Washington? So, yeah, he was just, the one thing you got to understand, Kristi, and this is something as a film crew that it took us a while, but we got pretty good at it. You don't have to agree with these guys on what they do, but you have to understand. You've got to get in their brain. You've got to really figure out, okay, hypothetically, if I was able or going to pull off a case such as Oklahoma City or 9/11, how would I do it? And you basically look at their science, their psyche, and the way they do it, and you have a better understanding of how completely sick and psychopathic and just delirious these people are. They're on a power trip. They have no regard for the sanctity of human life. Absolutely not. Because if they did, they wouldn't even remotely think of doing stuff like this. And it's, I mean, that's
for them, it's all a means to an end, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or the ends justify the means, if you will. They can use that to rationalize almost anything. Another name that I think was involved in indirectly or directly in both, you'll have to remind me, it wasn't Eric Holder in some degree present for both of those?
Eric Holder, not so much on 9/11, but he was involved with, that's okay. He was a U.S. special prosecutor, I think out of the Southern District of New York. And he was involved with the Ruby Ridge disaster, had to prosecute it, but recused himself, get this, because he was best friends with Larry Potts. I know, the same Larry Potts that was McVeigh's handler. Rewind the tape, go back to Ruby Ridge in 1993. Was it 1992? Anyway, Eric Holder was going to prosecute that case against Randy Weaver and his family. And Larry Potts was complicit in completely screwing that up because he was ahead of the rifle squad that he brought in there that irresponsibly shot up the Weaver farm and killed Randy Weaver's wife and baby. So anyway, so Holder and Potts go way back. All right, you go back to Waco, or fast forward to Waco in April of 1993. Who was involved in the tank disaster of inserting sarin gas and blowing up the compound and killing all those children and the men and women there? Larry Potts. He gave Laurent Harucci was ahead of the rifle squad that screwed up at Ruby Ridge, was driving one of the two tanks that went into that compound and inserted the illegal, by Geneva Convention, you can't use sarin gas even in warfare. And they were bringing it into 50-gallon barrels and just inserting it, and it ignited almost immediately. And Larry Potts was involved with that. And then who's McVeigh's handler? Larry Potts. So
wow. Interruption. We have to take a break real quick, hear from our sponsor, and we'll dive right back into these wild connections between Oklahoma City bombing and 9/11.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Let's face it, you can't trust Big Pharma. They've already tried to block ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and raise prices on everything from antibiotics to your daily meds. Well, there's good news. All Family Pharmacy is standing up for medical freedom and helping people get the treatments they actually want. My family and I use them all the time. They made it easy and affordable without the runaround. While other pharmacies are jacking up prices, they've actually dropped theirs. Ivermectin now starts at just $2 a capsule. Use my promo code Lindell10, you get an extra 10% off of that. You need ivermectin, antibiotics, or methylene blue, you name it, they've got it. They make it simple. You fill out a short online form, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your meds ship fast right to your front door. If you want to be prepared and have your medications on hand, this is your new pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10 saves you even more. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
So it's
It's
wild
crazy.
how there's a timeline and how these things connect. So as I understand what you've told me, you said there was the Waco incident, which really threatened the future of the ATF, and that the Oklahoma City bombing was an operation to essentially try and save the ATF. And since
Correct.
that was pulled off by the cabal, since that was pulled off successfully, the Oklahoma City bombing, then about 6 years later, they're like, oh, you'd like to have a reason to go into the Middle East and get some oil, or, well,
Right.
here, we were able to pull this off. Let's see how we can pull off 9/11. Is that how you see it kind of playing out?
I do. The body count had increased in all of these cases. By the way, McVeigh was also connected with Waco. It turned out to be a bunch of garbage, but they said that he was sympathetic toward what happened in Waco, and that Oklahoma City was his basically way to get revenge on that. The real story is McVeigh was on the payroll with the CIA for over 2.5 years before Oklahoma City. This would have been before even Waco. And they planted him there. They basically sheep-dipped them and just wanted him there on purpose, just to make sure that they could put that storyline on the shelf and then greenlight it anytime they want. Well, lo and behold, 2 years later, they greenlit it with Oklahoma City, him being sympathetic. But in fact, Nichols told our sources that McVeigh didn't want a body count. He was under the impression he was going to blow out a few buildings the night before, and that was it. And when he found out that he was going to be killing kids, he basically told Larry Potts to go take a flying leap, among other expletives. And and Larry Potts says, hey, we got you over the barrel on weapons charges, drug smuggling. And, we basically got you by the short here, so you're going to do what we're going to tell you to do. And that's how Oklahoma City unfolded. It was absolutely horrendous. And as a film crew, we're thinking, how in the world do you even put this on a film without people thinking that you're smoking crack? I mean, it was so far out there, but it was true. And it was polar opposite of the official narrative, but we did the best we could in the film, and we got a lot of awards for it. And here we are having this conversation 30 years later, Kristi. It's still relevant.
Why was McVeigh never able, do you think, to blow the whistle, and that he was essentially set up and expose this?
Well, okay. Again, and this is another thing that we had to establish early on before we even started doing pre-production in the film. There's the good side and the bad side of the U.S. government. I don't care what agency you're in, and the same goes with any other foreign intelligence service. We did have good people from the CIA and from the FBI, and even the ATF come forward and help us. They were furious on the way the Oklahoma City case was handled. They said they don't show up with their sidearm and their badge to lie about especially the horrific murder of these people that were just going about their business that day. But to answer your question, I don't know, Kristi, you have to, again, get into the psyche of why these people, it's a long-term goal that they have. It's not just short-term. And the body count increased. They wanted people to become desensitized to the fact, okay, first you have Ruby Ridge, then you've got Waco, then you've got Oklahoma City and 9/11, to the point where they think it's just normal. And now you have this complete fiasco in the Middle East with Hamas being actually set up by the Israeli government. Alex did a great job of summarizing that yesterday on InfoWars. So you're building up the crescendo. You're building up that level of tolerance that the general public, hopefully, they think that they just won't care anymore, that these people can just go do whatever they want. Well, as filmmakers and as independent journalists and broadcasters like you, it's our duty to say, hey, not only no, but hell no. This is bullcrap. You're lying to us, and we're going to call you on it. That's the bottom line.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I believe even Lee Harvey Oswald was trying to say I didn't do it, and the more and more we learn about the JFK assassination, the more we see how that was a government op, and he was the what do you call it, the not pansy, but who they put forward. Patsy. Kept on thinking Patsy. The Patsy. And so, I mean, to my understanding, McVeigh was suffered lethal injection from being responsible at Oklahoma City bombing. So, it's hard to know why he wouldn't have tried to expose that he was set up, unless there's like an MK Ultra element to this that I'm missing. I'm not sure.
Ian West did pay a visit to him when he was remanded into custody at the federal prison outside 32 miles west of Oklahoma City at the El Reno prison. So, all right, so the bombing happens April 19th. McVeigh is taken into custody by a state highway patrol trooper that same day. 2 days later, he almost got out of the Noble County Courthouse in Perry, Oklahoma, just south of the Kansas border. He's brought back to Tinker Air Force Base and held custody there for a probable cause hearing. They couldn't bring him back to the courthouse because the courthouse was across the street from the Murrah building, and most of the windows are blown out, and it was shut down for normal business for about 2.5, 3 weeks in some parts. It took them almost 3 months to get that fixed up. Anyway, so McVeigh, yes, he did tell Larry Potts to basically he wasn't going to do it the night before. The night before, and Potts says, no, we're going to get a body count. You're going tomorrow morning. But they had him over the barrel, Kristi. They had so much dirt on him of what he did with the CIA that they knew that they could control him. And that's the dark side of the CIA. That's what they do. And we do know that, and one other thing with McVeigh, to bring that, develop on that, there were two teams working the case. Because the McVeigh that Charlie Hanger, who's a state highway patrolman, pulled over, it was a good hour and a half drive north of Oklahoma City. And then there's another McVeigh that's cited by a survivor from the bombing. Literally within minutes after the bombing, she's walking out of the building. Her name was Jermaine Johnston. That McVeigh and the other one that Charlie Hanger pulled over were different, because there's no way that one that Jermaine Johnston saw in downtown Oklahoma City could have been the one that Charlie Hanger. We had a engineer from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation consulted with us, and he said McVeigh would have had to be going 192 miles an hour with no stoplights from literally the minute of the bombing to get to where Charlie Hanger was. So obviously that's not possible. So we knew that there were two teams working. All right, boom, let's go back. Who can do that? Well, it's either the FBI or the CIA. It's not the Oklahoma City Police Department, who obviously didn't have any interest in blowing up the building. The list of the culprits and who has not only the means and the professional acumen and the money to do it, and the short list gets very, very short when you start seeing all of these arrows pointing in one direction. And as a film crew, he says, "Wow, this is easy now. We just got to make a film and tell the story about what happened."
Yeah,
So
wow.
here we are.
Now that with this Trump administration, as he was on the campaign trail, he said that he was going to release it all and he was going to make all these disclosures. And since then, thanks to Tulsi Gabbard, we've had a lot of disclosures on the MLK assassination, the JFK Jr. and Robert Kennedy assassinations. There's been a lot of releases. Now we're going to have, supposedly we're going to have a new January 6th committee to look at it the appropriate way, not hide the truth of how many believe that was a setup. As I said earlier, there's an event in DC starting tomorrow to take another look at 9/11. As so many years have passed, do you have hope that there will be more of a demand for the truth about the Oklahoma City bombing? Or do you think that people will ever know that truth? There will be any efforts to have a new committee to take a look at that again? What are your thoughts?
I could tell you for a fact, I've been meeting with certain representatives. In fact, my congressperson here in Florida, I'm not going to name names, but I've had several meetings with them at their office, and even with, we included some individuals from Oklahoma City on those voice calls, speakerphone calls. So yes, the way I really am amazed at. Give credit to Tulsi Gabbard and Pam Bondi and President Trump. They have so much on their plate right now, and Oklahoma City, obviously, we're gonna get there. We just have to bide our time. But yes, short answer, it's in the queue. That's all I could say right now. We just don't know timing. But yes, they have taken a very keen interest in this case, and the fact that we have met with them the number of times we did and included the number of people on those phone calls clearly shows that they are very interested in getting to the bottom of what happened. And we're very glad that even some retired members of the Justice Department that helped us out are willing to come forward. It's we're very, very heartened and very humbled to see that these people are still willing to help us out after all these years.
Well, that is very exciting news. And my time is coming to with a close to you. But where can people watch the film again, and where can they get updates?
Yes, just email me, like I said, ccemery at protonmail.com. If you'd like any updates, there's certain things I'm not going to be able to divulge, but whatever I can, I'll be happy to. The film is available at Freemind Films, with an S, freemindfilms.com. Please watch them. They're free to watch on our website, and we get paid on the ad revenue. Thank you so much. And by the way, if I get you have 30 seconds here. The court sketch over my left shoulder is of Janie Coverdale, who was the grandmother of two of the kids, Aaron and Elijah Coverdale, that were killed in the bombing. The lady next to her is Terry Nichols' mom. And Janie befriended Terry Nichols' mom, and his trial was held later in 1997. The final verdict was, I believe, the week of Christmas of that year. And it was Janie, basically, I befriended her, knew her for 11 years, very close, almost like an adopted grandmother. She was very instrumental in helping us with the film. But she said that the mom was ostracized at the court proceedings. Nobody wanted to talk to her. And Janie says, oh, no, that's not the way you treat somebody like this, especially the mom of one of the co-conspirators. It wasn't her fault that Terry made the decisions he did. Within a week after the trial started, she made it a point to show up every morning with a cup of coffee and a sweet roll and sat next to his mom. Now,
Wow.
Who does that? What a heart. I mean, a heart of gold. And she was absolutely amazing and very humbled to have known her. Unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago. But I will always remember and cherish that time that I knew her.
Yeah, I mean, that's truly being the hands and feet of Jesus, to be able to show that amount of forgiveness and see this woman as not the problem, and that this was something that obviously this woman was grieving as well. So I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Pat Lopez, court sketch artist at ABC News, CBS. She's oddly enough from Oklahoma City, one of a handful of court sketch artists out there. And Janie had that rolled up in a cardboard tube under her living room couch. Met her in March of 2004, and I had it framed for her for Mother's Day, and that was hanging in her apartment up until the week after she passed away. And I was given it to by her son 2 years ago when I was in Oklahoma City, and I'm very proud to have it hanging here in my studio.
How did she feel about the work that you were doing to try and uncover the true story?
Oh, Janie didn't take any garbage from anybody. Reminded me of Jane Graham, who was also in our film, worked for HUD and was a survivor of the building. But Janie knew the whole narrative was garbage, and she wanted to find out who was responsible for killing her two grandbabies. And when she found out we were doing the film, I mean, KRISTI, I was writing letters for her to President Bush, President Clinton, and President Obama to ask for another hearing and an investigation on this case, and sending them out for her from the post office, certified mail to the White House. And I was reading correspondence she was getting from Terry Nichols from prison. They were pen pals for years, so to speak. And it was eerie to read his letters. And it's like, okay, what he's saying here dovetails perfectly with what we found out with the film, but flies in the face of the official narrative. And this is to the grandmother, to the kids. Terry apologized to her, Anyway, that's could have been another whole mini documentary right there.
Yeah, it's still very fascinating. Well, thank you for this work, for your work on this. And I encourage people to make sure that they watch A Noble Lie. But on your website, again, isn't that Freemind Films? Is that the one to watch it on?
Correct. Freemindfilms.com. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much. Freemindfilms.com, freemindfilms.com. All right, thank you so much for your time. And we'll have him back when there's new information. All right, before I do the verse of the day, I just want to remind you to please support the show. You can do that by going to mypillow.com, and using promo code KL. You can just do some shopping there, get some stuff you want anyways, and that helps support this show so you can have interesting topics that you won't ever see on like a Legacy Media here. Also, shout out to another supporter, rncstore.com. rncstore.com. They are doing incredible work on exposing the actual cures and preventions of cancer. So if you know anyone that is struggling and wants something that is natural but is actually going to work without breaking their whole body down, like radiation and chemotherapy, then go and check out rncstore.com. They've got a lot of different packages there that you can use. Just use promo code KL there as well. And here's the scripture verse I chose for today, Luke 8:17. Thought this was very appropriate for talking about 9/11 and Oklahoma City bombings. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. And again, that is from Luke 8:17. Join me over on Locals. I do a daily devotional show there. We dig into more of God's word together. So again, you can go to KristiLeighTV.locals.com. That's KristiLeighTV.locals.com if you want to join me there, continue the conversation. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to spread the word and share with friends. Get free with Kristi Leigh on LindellTV.com.